16, 78 yards passing. However, although he did throw a pick, it wasn't all bad. He ran in 2 touchdowns. Mike Vick back with us now. Mike, what'd you make of Taysom Hill's performance yesterday?
I thought Taysom did enough to win the game. You know, he wasn't asked to do too much.
All right. There you go.
It certainly wasn't. He certainly didn't need to go out and try to pass for 250 yards or 300 yards. He did what was asked of him to do. And look, it wasn't pretty. No style points. You know, it wasn't an ugly win. You know, it wasn't a pretty loss. You know, I'll just say that. It was a win. They got out of the stadium with a win. And it was against the Denver Broncos team that, you know, look, I won't even get into what they was dealing with. So I'm just glad that they won the game rather than lost the game, because the conversation would have been totally different this morning. It would have been totally different this morning.
Sit up, Nick.
So I'm going to let Nick
your body language.
Because I want to hear what they got to say in regards to Taysom Hill's performance.
That was an unlosable game for the Saints. It was, and I'm using this word correctly, it was literally impossible for them to lose that football game. Okay? So this whole idea they got the win, pick it up, ball it up, and throw it in the trash. It's meaningless. The cosplaying quarterback has to stop. And anyone that wants to defend Taysom Hill, I ask you this question today. In 3 weeks, if Drew Brees is not healthy enough yet to return, when you're about to go play the Kansas City Chiefs, who you starting? If you actually want a chance of winning that game. Hell, next week you play the Falcons. Really? Okay, so you think, you believe Taysom Hill gives them a better chance to win than Jameis? You really believe that? Based on what evidence?
Obviously,
he's a dual threat.
Because he's playing. Not just because he's a dual threat, Mike, but because he's playing. So obviously there's something happening in those meeting rooms and on that practice field where Jameis isn't showing Coach Payton enough to say, I need to be in there. They're putting the best players in there to win. That's the goal. So I don't care about his performance. When your starting quarterback goes down and you have a quarterback that is capable of coming in and winning games for you until he comes back, that's all you could ask for. Now, as a wide receiver, is it sexy? No. Is this the type of game that I want to be involved in? No. But when we're at this point in the season, when our number one goal is to win the Super Bowl, and we have a quarterback that is getting us getting us in position where we can have the number 1 seed, man, that's all you can ask for.
So why? Hold on. So Sean. So this is just the one coach. We can't question the decision making. It can't.
They're winning. Yeah. If they're losing.
I think he made the right decision.
Nick, yes, let's question them.
They couldn't have lost yesterday's game. It was an impossible football game to lose. And
what about
we
the week
know
before?
The Broncos were in a position. He played well the week before. And there's no doubt about that. But the idea, what? So you just can't question the decision making. You can't say in a league that we know
because
teams
they're winning
at times say that I understand they won the game. But the goal for them, as you have explained, is exclusively to win the Super Bowl. The best route there is the 1 seed. And the idea that it has to at least be considered that Jameis gives them a better chance than Taysom to get that 1 seed. Now, they have an investment in Taysom. They have guaranteed money tied up in Taysom, so they are incentivized to see if it can work. But that guy's not a quarterback. And nothing you saw yesterday makes him look like a quarterback.
Nick, you know the best plays that Taysom Hill made yesterday are the plays we watching, the scrambles, throwing it away, throwing it out of bounds. Yes, he put some balls in harm's way a couple times, but you know it was a game where they could not lose. So it turns into a game where you go out and you play for experience. And you know, not to say that that's what Taysom Hill did, but the best plays that he made was not putting the ball in harm's way. And I can't say the same thing about Jameis. We've seen it over and over again last year, him putting the ball in harm's way when it was unnecessary. The best thing for Taysom Hill to do yesterday was just to get out of the stadium with a win, and he did it. He didn't have to do it with style points. It didn't have to be pretty. He didn't have to pass for 300. Just win the football game.
Okay. Mike, on Friday, you, Michael Vick, said that Taysom Hill was the ultimate dual threat. And we all laughed, and I laughed. But you know what? I've got one mouth, two ears. And online, people are like, how dare you question Michael Vick? And I was like, I'm listening to it, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. If Michael Vick is calling someone the ultimate dual threat, I'm going to listen. So then, next thing you know, while we're putting up Christmas decorations, neighbors are walking around like, hey, you're going to watch a game, you better watch the ultimate dual threat. You got to watch Ultimate Dual Threat. Taysom Hill, he's the ultimate dual threat. I'm on board now. Next thing you know, can we put the stat panel up of one player who is a real wide receiver playing quarterback and one who is a running back playing quarterback? Mike, this ain't it, as Nick would like to say. I would like to see if it's an unlosable game and you're up big, why don't you just, if I'm Sean Payton, why don't I say, you know what? Let's throw the ball a little bit, because we got the Falcons coming up, and they have Matt Ryan. They don't have a wide receiver playing quarterback. Why don't we just open up the playbook a hair, open up a crack, and see what this offense can really do?
You know, you can only do what you prepared for. And you know, the Denver Broncos defense is not the same as the Atlanta Falcons defense. Different looks. So it's going to call for a different game plan. So I guarantee 40% of the plays, maybe 30% of the plays that was in the playbook yesterday for the New Orleans Saints versus the Broncos was not the same plays that was in the playbook, you know, versus the Atlanta Falcons. So it was a different game plan. So it called for different things and different levels of decision making, different play calls. So you can only do what the coach asks you to do, and I know that's what Taysom Hill did, and he did it to a point where he was able to get out of the game with a win. Most important.
Still waiting on that first career touchdown pass, though. Just real quick, I know Drew Brees isn't coming back next week, but I would posit this. If Brees had a miraculous recovery and was able to play next week and played the rest of the way throughout the regular season, and in week 17 in the fourth quarter, he went down with an injury, and all of a sudden, based on what you've seen from Taysom, these two starts were the entirety of it. You got to make a decision. Who is starting our playoff game for the Saints? I think everyone on this panel knows damn well they ain't starting Taysom Hill. They are starting Jameis Winston in that spot. They think they can get away with this experiment right now because of their defense and because of their competition. But I do not think they would ever start this player in a playoff game, not based on what we've seen.
Yeah. But when you think about offensive gurus, you have Josh McDaniels, you have McVay, you have Kyle Shanahan, and you also have Coach Payton there. So who are we to question Coach Payton? He's in those meetings more than we are, obviously. Like, we're not even there. We don't know. So if this is a guy that wants to win the Super Bowl, why is he putting in a quarterback that he doesn't believe in? Why would he put in Jameis if, you know, like, it just doesn't make any sense, Nick? Like, what you're saying makes no sense. This is a coach who is one of the best at what they do ever. So, obviously, he's going to make the best decision for the team.
All right, we'll keep it rhetorical, and while we head to Jacksonville, the Cleveland Browns escaping with a win yesterday to improve to 8-3. Big milestone as they clinch their first non-losing season since 2007. Yay, they're not losers. Baker threw for 258 yards and 2 touchdowns and took to Twitter after the game saying this: I know I can be better, and I will be. Job isn't finished. A lot of ball left. We're 8-3. We're not satisfied. That's the best part about this team. Mike Vick, throw it to you. Baker and the 8-3 Browns. Are they overrated or are they underrated?
I guess right now they're underrated. I mean, 8-3. I mean, and people still bashing you week in and week out. I guess it don't matter after a while. I mean, I like what Baker's doing. I like that he's game managing. He's not, you know, putting up astronomical stats. He's doing what he's been actually doing on offense. He has a running game to complement him. So I would lean on that any day. If you ask me, you know, to go out and throw for 400 yards every week and abandon the run game, then I'm going to tell my coach, listen, you need to come up with a better game plan. And I like what the Cleveland Browns are doing right now. I like the direction that they're going in and taking it 1 week at a time. And they're flying under the radar. So that this allows Baker to get better without a lot of pressure. And he got the rest of his team, offense, defense, special teams, complimenting him. That's all you can ask for as a quarterback.
Well, let me say this first. They should be proud. They should be happy because when you think about the Cleveland Browns, it's synonymous with losing. I've been in organizations before the Miami Dolphins where we're trying to turn the corner and try to figure out a way to get this terrible energy away from our building, away from the fans. So for them to be in a position where they're sitting 8-3, job well done. But to answer your question, I would say that they're overrated. Like, let's think about this. Where's your signature win? We can go through it. They lost to Baltimore. They beat Cleveland. They beat Washington. They beat Dallas, Indy. Maybe it's Indy. They lost to Pittsburgh, beat Cincy, lost to Las Vegas, the Raiders. They beat the Houston Texans. They beat the Eagles. They beat the Jaguars. Like, where's their signature win?